I'm calling to order the committee of the whole meeting, and we will do a roll call, please, beginning with District 1.
Bruce Prout. Sorry, point of order, sir.
Sure.
It's council.
It's regular council.
It's regular
It is.
council.
You know how I know it's council? It's regular. Okay, we're at number 2.
Brian Buzzy-Connell, District 2. District 4, Floyd Barton.
District 5, Lynn Longmire.
District 6, Alex Morrison.
District 7, David Hudson.
District 8, Michael Gunn.
District 9, Wendy Sheridan.
District 10, Brad Reddish. And District 11 is Councilor LeBlanc, and she will be here in a few minutes. Are there any disclosures of interest? Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve the order of the day, please? Councilor Hudson?
I would like to add an item.
You can't add an item
Move to approve.
until we have something to discuss.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Councilor Gunn and Councilor Longmire. Discussion.
This is where I can add my item.
Yes, please.
Okay, perhaps this should go under new business, 6, and it would be perhaps number 4,
Okay.
and it would be District 3 Special Election Alternative Voting Bylaw.
Thank you. Thank you. Any others? All in favor of the order of the day as amended?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. If we could have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of the 8th of November special meeting.
Move to approve.
Councilor Sheridan, Councilor Longmire, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. And motion to approve the minutes of the 15th of November regular meeting. Councilor Prout, Councilor Hudson. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. That was the 15th, right? Now, to approve the minutes of the special council meeting on the 22nd of November. Deputy Warden, seconded by Councilor Sheridan. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And a motion to approve the minutes of the special council meeting on the 28th of November.
Move to approve.
Councilor Sheridan, Councilor Longmire. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. We will move now to item 5, beginning on page 23. Item 5.1, a grant to the Port Royal Lighthouse Society. Councilor Longmire.
I move that municipal council approve a grant in the amount of $5,000 to the Port Royal Lighthouse Association to assist with their Set the Stage Phase 1 for major repairs and restoration of Schaffner Point, Port Royal Lighthouse from the Capital Projects Assistance Program, Small Project Matching Grants in accordance with AM 1-1.4.9 Community Grants Policy.
Thank you. Second. Councilor Prout. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Carried. 5.2, Bear River Water Assessment. Councilor John.
Thank you. I move that municipal council approve the reallocation of a maximum of $50,000 from the county water reserves to fund an assessment and detailed design for a residential water system in Bear River.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Connell. Discussion. Councillor Longman.
Just a quick question. I'm just wanting to clarify if that fund will support an assessment on the existing and whether that is suitable or a new. Yes.
Thank you.
The assessment is going to assess that water utility that's there in Digby County. Because we've never done that. Everything we've done so far has been trying to figure out how to just do a build on our side and accept their water. This, for the first time, assesses that and says, is it, engineering-wise, is it capable? Is the water quality there? Is the modern standards are there? So it is primarily just looking at that and looking at that for the first time, so that when we try and do projects or ask for funding to build on our side and say we're going to supply it from there, we would know what has to be done there, or if anything.
Thank you. Councillor Virgil.
My concerns on that in a way, because it's part of my cooperation with joint counties, but we have to update the whole water supply to get water to where we are. I want to see an assessment done on the Annapolis County side for the provision of wells, a water source, as an alternative, a primary alternative to servicing that area, instead of upgrading that whole system on the west side of the river. You've only mentioned doing an assessment on that existing system, not an assessment on providing our own system.
Right. So that would be a different study, because we'd have to look around, and I think we'd have to find some possible places and properties and things where we might have partnerships or access. There was a study on water in 2007. I think it was inconclusive on where there were sources on our side. There's a source right near Clementsville Road, but it was believed by some provincial assessments to be contaminated by road salt, so I don't know if it's fixable. But to answer your question more specifically, that would have to be a different study that we'd have to undertake to look at sources on our side and assess them.
We are dealing with the motion as written, and it's discussion on that motion.
So,
If someone wishes to put an item on the agenda, perhaps for the committee of the whole in January, then we could do that.
I'd like to do that.
Yes.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Carried. 5.3, sewer invoice, Town of Annapolis Royal. Deputy Warden.
I move that municipal council defer the decision regarding payment to the Town of Annapolis Royal for sewer services that should be paid following the completion of the recommendation from the consultant.
Second, Councillor Connell. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.4, AM-2.7.1, Occupational Health and Safety Policy Amend. Deputy Warden.
I move that municipal council amend AM-2.7.1 Occupational Health and Safety Policy by adding the words "and near miss" in subsection 3, sub 7, in accordance with 7-day notice given on 2022-12-13.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Hudson. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.5, AM-7.3.1 Publication and Signage Policy Amend. Deputy Warden.
I move that municipal council amend AM-3.1.7 publication and signage policy by making the changes as circulated and recommended by the working group pursuant to 7-day notice given on December 13th, 2022.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Longmire, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.6, Nova Scotia Power Incorporated easement, 2239 Virginia Road, PID 050572111. Councillor Gunn, please.
Yes, sir. I move that municipal council authorize the warden and clerk to sign an easement to Nova Scotia Power Inc. for PID 505057211 for the sum of $1.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Hudson, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.7, remuneration increase for councillors. Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council approve a cost of living increase of 1.7% for councillors commencing on January 1st, 2023.
Thank you. Seconder.
Right here.
Councillor Gunn. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.8, enter agreement with Western Woodlot Services Cooperative to harvest on PID 050911152. Councillor Gunn, please.
Yes, sir. I move that the municipality enter the agreement with the Western Woodlot Services Cooperative to ecologically forest the county's land in Greywood on PID 05091152.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Hudson. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.9, proceeds from harvest activity be placed in separate fund for further ecological practices. Councillor Gunn, please.
Yes, sir. I move that the proceeds from the ecological forestry activity be put in a separate fund to be used for further ecological practices.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Prout. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Against? Motion carried. 30th. 5.10, Accessibility Advisory Committee Letter of Thanks. Deputy Warden, please.
Sorry. I move that the municipal council thank the Accessibility Advisory Committee for its work and for the committee to be assured that council will bear its recommendations in mind for future deliberations.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion.
Thank you, Warden, for getting that straightened out.
You're quite welcome. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.11, Annapolis Remo agreement to use NSCC Annapolis Valley Campus. Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council approve the agreement to use the NSCC Annapolis Valley Campus for an emergency shelter, coordination, comfort, and/or reception center as recommended to the Annapolis County Remo Councils by the Annapolis Remo Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Longmire. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.12, Development Agreement Application, Beth's Grooming and Kennel Boarding, first reading. Councillor LeBlanc, please.
I move that municipal council give first reading of its intent to support the development agreement amendment application submitted by Harry Wilson to amend the Macbeth Grooming and Kennel Boarding Development Agreement by permitting the future expansion of the business on the property located at 10301 Highway 201 with the PID number being 05292347. And set a public hearing for this matter on Tuesday, February 11th, 2023 at 11 a.m. February 21st, 2023.
Seconder. Councillor Connell. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.13, extension of citizen member appointments to the Accessibility Advisory Committee. Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council extend the citizen appointments of Timothy Atkins, Lester Barson, Christine Gard, Tina Hiltz, Brenda McDonald Lona, and John Smith to the Accessibility Advisory Committee to November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Sheridan, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.14, extension of citizen member appointments to the Lawrencetown Water Supply Area Advisory Committee to waive the restriction. Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council waive the restriction regarding consecutive appointments and extend the citizen appointments of Lynette Gilks and Phil Milo to the Lawrencetown Water Supply Area Advisory Committee to November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Vaughn, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.15, citizen member appointments to the Lawrencetown Water Supply Area Advisory Committee. Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council appoint Brian Reed as a citizen member of the Lawrencetown Water Supply Area Advisory Committee for a 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Hudson, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.16. Extension of citizen member appointments to the Margarettsville Water Supply Area Advisory Committee to waive restriction. Councillor Connell, please.
Yes, I move that municipal council waive the resolution to restriction regarding consecutive appointments and extend the citizen appointments of Harold Baker, William Street, to the Margarettsville Water Supply Area Advisory Committee until November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Vaughn, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Against? Motion carried. 5.17, citizen member appointments to the Margarettsville Water Supply Area Advisory Committee. Councillor Connell, please.
I move that municipal council appoint Herbert James as a citizen member of the Margarettsville Water Supply Area Advisory Committee for the 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Sheridan, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.18, Audit Committee. Councillor Sheridan, please.
I move that municipal council appoint Eric Byfus as the citizen member of the audit committee for a 1-year term ending November 30th, 2023.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Gunn, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.19, Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory Committee. Councillor seeking applicants. Councillor Hudson, please.
I move that the councillor of District 7 seek and encourage applications from citizens in the Bridgetown Water Supply Area, and following receipt of applications by January the 6th of 2023, that the municipal council re-advertise to fill vacancies on the Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Second, Councillor LeBlanc, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.20, Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, advertise on electronic sign. Councillor Hudson, please.
I move that municipal council direct staff to advertise Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory Committee vacancies on the community electronic sign at the Bridgetown Sports Hub.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Prout. Discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.21, Granville Ferry Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, council seeking applications. Councillor Bartow, please.
Yes, I move that the council of District 4 and 5 seek and encourage applications from citizens in the Granville Ferry Water Supply Area, and failing receipt of additional applications by January 6, 2023, that municipal council re-advertise to fill vacancies on the Granville Ferry Source Water Protection Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Second, Councilor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.22, Granville Ferry Source Water Protection Advisory Committee. Advertise on electronic sign. Councilor Bartle, please.
I move that municipal council direct staff to advertise Granville Ferry Source Water Protection Advisory Committee vacancies on the community electronic sign in Bridgetown, at Bridgetown Sports Club.
Thank you. Second by Councilor Longmire. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 5.23, Heritage Advisory Committee. Councilor Collins, please.
I move that municipal council appoint Lane Virgin, Jerry Allen Dick, and Anna Brock as citizen members of the Heritage Advisory Committee for the 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 5.24, Lake Katy Source Water Protection Advisory Committee. Councilor Gunn, please.
Yes, sir. I move that municipal council appoint Gail Longmire as citizen member to the Lake Katy Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, satisfying Section 28D of the policy for a 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Second. Councilor Longmire, discussion. Councilor Sheridan.
It's just on our agenda, they're not in the same order as in our package. Like there's 5.23 reads, well, it was supposed to read Heritage Advisory, doesn't have a 5 point to it. So it's gonna throw, I don't know if it'll throw the clerk off, but all the numbers are not the same, all but the rest of it.
We're going, sorry, I'm going by the actual page.
Okay, and in the front, it's gonna be one off as the rest of it goes down.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Page 26, 5.25, Lake Katy Source Water Protection Advisory Committee. Councilors seek applicants. Councilor Gunn, please.
Yes, sir. I move that councilors of District 6 and 8 seek and encourage applications from citizens in the Lake Katy water supply area. Failing receipt of additional applications by January 6, 2023, that municipal council re-advertise to fill vacancies on the Lake Katy Source Water Protection Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Second. Councilor Connell, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.26, Lake Katy Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, advertise on electronic sign. Councilor Gunn.
Yes, sir. I move that municipal council direct staff to advertise Lake Katy Source Water Protection Advisory Committee vacancies on the community electronic sign at the Bridgetown Sports Hub.
Thank you. Second, Councilor Crouch. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.27, Margaretville Source Water Protection Advisory Committee waiving restriction. Councilor Connell, please.
I move that municipal council waive the resolution to restriction regarding second appointments and appoint Harold Baker as a citizen member of the Margaretville Water Source Protection Advisory Committee, satisfying Section 29, Section D of the policy for an additional 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder, Councilor Sheridan. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.28, Margaretville Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, Councilor seeking applicants. Councilor Connell, please.
I move that the councilor of District 2 seek and encourage applications from citizens in the Margaretville water supply area, and failing receipt of an additional applications by January 6, 2023, the municipal council will re-advertise to fill vacancies on the Margaretville Source Water Protection Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Second, Councilor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
5.29, Margaretville Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, advertise on electronic sign. Councilor Colwell.
Move that municipal council direct staff to advertise Margaretville Water Source Water Protection Advisory Committee vacancies on the community electronic sign at the Bridgetown Sports Hub.
Thank you. Second, Councilor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Against? Motion carried. 5.30, Planning Advisory Committee waiving restriction. Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council waive by resolution the restriction regarding consecutive appointments and appoint Carolyn Hubble and Rachel Humphreys as citizen members of the Planning Advisory Committee for an additional 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Second, Councilor Sheridan. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Against? Thank you. Motion carried. 5.31, Planning Advisory Committee. Deputy Warden.
I move that municipal council appoint Raymond Edward Johnson Jr. as a citizen member of the Planning Advisory Committee for a 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Second, Councilor Hudson. Discussion. Deputy Warden.
Supposed to be clerical. My recollection is that members are appointed to boards until there's somebody to replace them by policy. Is that not? Am I remembering that from somewhere else?
That was in a past policy of citizen appointments. That was removed.
Well, that answers all my questions. Thank you.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.32, Cornwallis Park and Area Asset Review Committee ad hoc dissolved. Councilor Gunn.
Thank you. I move that municipal council dissolve the ad hoc Cornwallis Park and Area Asset Review Committee.
Thank you. Seconder, Councilor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Against? Motion carried. 5.33, councilor appointments to committees of council, advisory boards and committees, and joint regional or community organizations. Now, does this whole thing need to be read, or just the 2 lines of it?
Just the 2 lines at the bottom.
Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council approve the 2022 to 2024 council appointments as detailed for a 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Second. Councilor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. 5.34, letters of thanks to no longer serving citizen members. Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council send letters of thanks to no longer serving citizen members of the following committees: Accessibility Advisory, Audit, Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory, Heritage Advisory, Lake Caddy Source Water Protection Advisory, Lake Caddy Water Supply Area Advisory, Margaretville Source Water Protection Advisory, and Planning Advisory.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.35, Police Advisory Board waive restriction. Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council waive by resolution the restriction regarding consecutive appointments and appoint Dane Berenger as citizen member of the Police Advisory Board for an additional 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Second. Councilor Sheridan. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Page 28. 5.36, Police Advisory Board. Deputy Warden, please.
I move that municipal council appoint Paula Montgomery Bittet as a citizen member of the Police Advisory Board for a 3-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. 5.37, AM-1.4.9.1, Medical Assistance Recruitment Program Policy Amend. Councilor Crowe, please.
Well, thank you. I move that municipal council amend AM-1.4.9.1 medical assistance recruitment program policy in accordance with 7-day notice given on December 13th of 2022.
Thank you. Second, Councilor Longmire, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. 5.38, letter to Nova Scotia Department of Transportation and Infrastructure Renewal. And who better to give that than Councilor
I recommend that the municipal council send a letter to the Minister of Transportation Infrastructure Renewal asking for the department to give some cooperation to fire departments during fatalities on their highways.
Thank you. Second,
Very good.
Councilor Nunn, discussion. I might note that previously Councilor Dunn has indicated his willingness to prepare a first draft.
And that was also to be sent to the RMLA.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Other discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Carried. We're now down to new business, and it should be 1:30, but it's only 10:33. So could we move to, wait a minute. In new business, item number 4, the District 3 special election. Councilor Hudson, you asked for this to be placed on the agenda.
Yes, thank you very much. My notes here. What I want to say about the
Excuse me,
alternative
you have
vote.
a motion? You have a motion?
I will, yes. Okay, but just for a little background, I guess. The alternative voting bylaw was passed by council in August of 2020 and was passed in advance of the 2020 general election. Passage of that bylaw at that time, I think, was very appropriate, given the restrictions that were in place at that time. My opinion, however, is that the purpose of this bylaw was to address future conditions that would prevent in-person voting by paper ballot and not as a voting method for all future elections. I would also like to point out that there's no restrictions in place at this time. The policy permits, and I guess that's a word that I think is key to myself, permits the use of telephone internet ballots for regular and special elections. There was no mention in the policy that it is to be used for all future regular and special elections. In addition to that, I believe that the method of voting for elections, and in particular the upcoming one, which is the District 3 special election, is something that should be approved by council. And having said that, I would make a motion that the special election in January 2023 for a councillor in District 3 be conducted using paper ballots.
Is there a second?
Prayer.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. And I'd just like to ask, what you are saying is absolutely no electronic voting. That is your motion.
Yes.
Entirely 100% paper.
Unless approved by council.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
you need to add that to your motion?
yes, that's right.
Okay,
You have to give me the wording. That the special election in January 2023 for District 3 be conducted using paper ballots, and what was the rest? There was more?
that motion says paper ballots, nothing else.
Nothing else.
But you would just utter the phrase unless approved by council, you don't want that part of the motion.
No.
Okay, so we have them.
Thank you. Before calling on the CAO, I would like to point out that on the 15th of November, there was a staff report on this. It was a very short staff report, and the recommendations were adopted unanimously. I'd like the CAO to speak, please.
Certainly. Well, I think it would be worth trying to take a few minutes of your time to talk about, since your last motion did talk about electronic, did request for an electronic election for the special election. Why don't I share with you some facts about how it would work and some of the benefits? I definitely believe that members of the public that have concerns with electronic voting, I think we need to acknowledge these are very well-intentioned people that just want the best possible process, and the people that are potentially coming to you with concerns are completely well-intentioned. They want us to have the best possible process. So I think there are some facts about electronic voting that are worth sharing with you just to help with your consideration for today. Our participation rates here and nationally in municipal elections were dropping very significantly. We were down to 32% participation rate in 2016. Around the same time, other Nova Scotia municipalities were beginning to use electronic. By 2016, somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of Nova Scotia municipalities were offering electronic voting, and their participation rates went way up. And there were a lot of compliments from the public because electronic voting gives you 2 weeks, 24/7, where people can vote either by phone or an internet-based device. And as you know, we did an electronic election in 2020. Our participation rate went up to 47%, and that was an increase. 32% versus 47% is an increase of over 1,500 people who voted. And experiences across Canada are very similar, giving people that 2 weeks, that longer period of time versus basically 1 day and maybe an advance poll, is well appreciated by people. When I talk to provincial officials, they comment about how many complaints they get that they're not offering that. That's their number one complaint from the public. Why can't we have at the provincial level that 2-week tool? So it definitely is helping more people vote. And there are a lot of other stuff. I can answer some questions about, if you like, even at the level of seniors, there are a lot of national studies that say it increases seniors' voting rates. And maybe they're worth just mentioning for a minute because I think we worry about seniors a lot. They're typically a demographic who has a high propensity to vote. Surveys have shown number one reasons why they don't vote is in a one-day election, it's a bit harder for them. They have harder times coping with if there's bad weather that day and traveling. What if they can't get a ride and need one, and there's only that one-day opportunity? If they have medical issues or medical appointments, a certain percentage of them will randomly get knocked out of voting because they have a personal event that day. We also did some studying. When we went electronic, we did offer walk-in. And our findings were that the walk-in locations we created were very underused. It was an average in the mid-20s of the number of people that went to our 11 or so walk-in locations. And so after giving people 2 weeks of voting, we seem to have met a lot of the demand. There wasn't a lot of interest in walk-in. We did have about 850 people that voted from home that day. using whatever they did, computer or IVR. So they actually, even when they had the open locations spread all over the county, we only had about, I think it was, I'm going by memory, council, I think it was under 400 people in total that voted everywhere in all of the walk-in places we created. But we had somewhere between 850 to 900 people who voted themselves online. So even when they had the walk-in, most people seem to prefer that. I also did some other research. Now, if you remember, we only offered electronic. Even if you came in, people did it on a computer. So I talked to some ROs with some neighboring municipalities who offered paper on that last day. They're reporting to me the same thing. After 2 weeks of 24/7 voting, even though they offered paper, they had very, very low walk-in rates. So they were disappointed and realized they had a very high cost for that and it wasn't well used. And we also have, this election isn't in the fall, it's in the winter. So we've got a special risk. If January 28th turns out to be terrible weather, is that going to be a problem for us? Possibly. We could get a lot of complaints about people feeling that they couldn't get out and vote. So there certainly are a very large number of people that were complimenting us about doing electronic. It was viewed by a very large number of people as an improved service, and we seem to have some proof in that big jump in voter rates. So I think those are facts that are worth you having.
Thank you. Discussion. Councillor Barto, followed by Councillor Cox.
I got a couple questions, so if I could keep the floor till I finish, and I might take a break for response. So why it's all electronic voting? Is it still set up in?
Excuse me. We have a motion on the floor. I'd like the motion read.
That the special election in January 2023 for District 3 be conducted using paper ballots.
That is the subject we are discussing.
Yes. Yes. I'm not calling that very respect. Or I hope I'm not. There's 2 advanced polls noted on that criteria that was voted on before. If it's a 2-week period, first time I'm sure the exact dates from my memory. Why was 2 advanced polls noted specific dates in that package? If it's all electronic, they would have been irrelevant. That's question 1.
Excuse me. We are dealing with a motion that we conduct the election by paper ballots. That's the subject of this motion.
This is relevant.
It is not. If you have an amendment to the motion, then go ahead. But it's a very specific motion, as Councillor Hudson indicated. Someone suggested additional wording, and he said, no, thank you. He was happy with his original motion.
Councillor Hudson was granted the courtesy to speak before he made his motion. I would like to have the same courtesy.
Please.
Thank you. So I would like everybody to think about that. That's part of why I would make an amendment to the motion. And the other one was the low walk-ins. That is, to me, a relevant factor, whether it's low or not. If those people didn't vote electronically, but they did walk in, if you negate the chance for them to vote, that can skew the final result. So I think we have to strongly consider what that means. So I would like to I guess I would like to make a motion. I agree with an amendment to the motion. Sorry, just getting my words in here. I'd like to make an amendment to the motion, not substantially skewing what Council Hudson has put on the table, to allow electronic voting, but have access to paper ballot voting as well.
I'm sorry, that's not a valid amendment because it changes substantially the original
No, it
motion.
basically just adds to it.
I might point out.
So I can make a second motion after the fact, is what you're telling me?
an amendment to the motion must deal with the motion. And bearing in mind that Councillor Hudson was very specific, he was offered a number of words that would indicate flexibility, and he said, I'm happy with my motion. His motion is by paper only. That's
My concerns will not go inside the motion items. What do you want?
pending disposition of the motion on the floor.
Just for clarity. Thank you.
Sure. Councillor Connell.
I'm very sorry to the citizens of District 3 that I didn't catch what C8 bylaw read.
And it was also on the paper.
I couldn't find my paper. I found
the page.
I found the motion we passed. I found it. And all it indicated was C8 alternative voting. There was no explanation. There was no discussion at council. I'm very sorry to the citizens of District 3.
And
I'm all for the paper ballot. I would like to see something added to it that electronic be allowed to, or another motion put forward that electronic too. I definitely will try not to make that mistake again. But this is very important. It's very important because my new cell phone has been working for 2 weeks probably. Wendy sent me a text sitting right at the same table. Won't come through. Linda texted me. Wouldn't come through. Went back to Alliant. Alliant said, we are having difficulties.
yes, in a number of places are.
In a number of places, especially where if you go in and out of the service range and your device drops the service, when it's picking it back up, it's not doing it correctly. They acknowledge that there is a big issue with that. I also have a problem with our rural areas are still not 100% electronic. So, again, I'm very sorry that it's a District 3. I would have never, ever voted for that motion.
Thank you. And just parenthetically, in notice this morning, and Councillor Sheridan underlined it when she found the discrepancy in the numbers. This morning, I went to the pages, and of course, in the note that we had at that meeting, it said, by using IntelliVote, there are no polling stations, equipment, or anything. But what happened was we voted on the little things. Councillor Longmire.
Thank you. I'm not going to reiterate, everything that Councillor Connell has just mentioned, but I do want to stress that I want to apologize to District 3 as well. I think it was, I guess, simple way of saying it, I didn't do my part to dig up as deep as I needed to in the information. I did read the package thoroughly. I did omit or did overlook the C8 bylaw. I am saddened to think that I did that. Then I look and I see that vote was unanimous. And that hurts me as well because I would have liked to have thought that someone might have caught it, and I being one of those people. There are a lot of things about voting that has to be done so that everyone, regardless of their situation, where they live, their age, whatnot, have the opportunity, equal opportunity to vote. And we can only do that when we offer options. And I right now, currently am now almost 2.5 weeks out with no internet service. And so if I were to rely on that method of voting, it wouldn't happen. Now, I could be really patient, get in my car, drive somewhere, get Wi-Fi, but that's not everyone's story. So we have to recognize that. And as Councillor Connell has said, we have to make it so that people can vote. It's their right to be able to vote. And to restrict it based on, at the time, 2020, state of emergency was in place. And of course, things needed to be modified because we needed to be able to make action on an election. But we're no longer there. Yes, we've got some other health challenges right now, but by offering different methods of voting, I think we'll definitely help all of ourselves out. But again, my apologies to District 3, and I hope that we can come to a better decision. Thank you.
Councillor Crowe.
Thank you. I'm going to take a bit of a contrarian view in that I recall back in 2020, and those who were on the old council with me now, I was very skeptical of electronic voting, of phoning it in, and I might have been one of the last holdouts to say, well, convince me. And the fact that the voting rates went up by the amount stated by our CAO, our acting CAO, and the fact that it's being held in the winter, the election, which is out of our hands, by going with paper ballots only, now I'm open to some sort of a new motion after this, but I won't be voting for paper ballots only because in my mind, given the time of year, I'm afraid that paper ballots only may well mean that fewer people will be able to cast a vote if we have a storm that day. That's just my thought. Now, if you want to come up with some hybrid, if that's a possibility, I can support that, but not, I'm sorry, with all respect to my colleague, Councillor Hudson, I think if we went with paper ballots only at this point in time, we may well disenfranchise more people than we help. I know the internet is very, can be skippy and it's not available to everybody there, but hopefully landline phones, although maybe I'm a dinosaur for having a landline along with a cell phone. As it stands, I'd vote against paper only. I think that might be a mistake. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor LaPlante.
Thank you. I have the same mind as Councillor Pratt, whereas I will not be voting for a paper-only ballot. Not that I am opposed to add the paper ballot, because in the last election what I found is a lot of the younger generation and even the older generation, after they could use their phone whichever way or their computer, said, okay, I'm good with this, this is great, because they didn't like having to take the time to go out and line up and stand and wait and go on and so forth. So as the motion as it stands, I would not support, but as combining this with the other electronic ones to move us into the future, which is where it should be going, and encouraging the younger generation to vote as well, because we all know that they're way better than the rest of us that are sitting here on their phones. Well, you know, it doesn't take them very long to I'm done. And they're happy with that, which I'm happy with, because to me it's making them go out and taking the time to vote and be part of the elections. And that's where I sit at this point. Thank you very much. Talking about phones.
Thank you so much. And through you, Warden, to our CAO, could we come up with a hybrid system, as my former counselors or my fellow counselors have talked about? Could we come up with a hybrid system we still offer electronic? We're still going to have electronic. That'd be forced to get rid of it.
I'm sorry, I must interrupt. And once again, say that the person, the councillor or colleague who put the motion forward was very adamant that the motion as put forward would stand. And there were suggestions, and he said, no, thank you, and I think we have to honor.
Then I'll leave that alone, sir. Thank you very much, and I'll wait for the motion to drop.
Councillor Sheridan.
I have been speaking with a few residents, and they do have concerns with the electronic voting in regards to, say, if they went to their grandparents' house, they would be asking their grandparents, can I use your cards and vote? They do have that concern, and I believe it has happened, possibly, in the past election. So I can understand the concerns of the residents. I understand the concerns of a snowstorm possibility, and I understand the hybrid system. So it's a kind of a complex situation because you have the residents that are asking for paper ballots. I want to support the residents' want. However, I want the most people out there to vote. So I'm kind of sitting on the fence on this one because I want to do what the residents want us to do. It's their right to vote, and I too apologize to District 3.
Thank you. Deputy Warden?
I have a question. If we go with a paper ballot, we're having, then you just have election day on, or you can only cast votes on the 21st, the 24th, and the 27th? Or 28th? Is that correct? So the two advanced polling days.
Yes.
3 days.
Councillor Hudson?
Yes, I hope I'm not off topic here. Someone passed me a note over my shoulder. I didn't see who it was, but the note read, "The voting is being changed. People need to choose." Could whoever passed me that note explain that to me?
Sorry, one moment.
Okay. Okay.
Do you wish to speak?
I can.
Thank you.
Do I need to step forward?
Could you identify yourself, please?
Motion to let her,
Yes?
we need a motion.
That's where I'm going.
Okay.
That's where I'm going. Would you identify yourself,
I am.
please?
Good morning, Council. I'm Maria Hagan. I'm a District 3 resident.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there a motion to permit Ms. Hagan to speak?
Excuse me, did you say District 2 or District 3?
District 3. I live in St. Croix Cove in District 3.
Thank you. Councillor Sheridan?
I would make that motion to allow Mrs. Hager to speak.
Seconded by Councillor Longmire. Discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Please.
I'm going to be very brief. I have listened. As you know from my email, I am against electronic only, and there's a reason for that. Last time, we had two districts that had less than 10 votes, and I wanted sorely to call the people and say, please ask for a recount. I want to see how this is done. If you have a computer, and your computer is not spitting out a piece of paper on the other end when I poke my phone or poke my computer with my ID on it, then you cannot prove to me in the very level part that my vote was registered as I voted. That's my first problem. Second problem, and the reason that I brought this photo to you people was you and a lot of the people, because it came from staff, recommended that you change my voting procedure. I don't think you have the constitutional right to do that. So having, and there is no reason, like you have stated, there is no reason for this election to be conducted under duress. Last time in October 2021, I was not aware that there was public, in-person, electronic voting at halls. That makes the in-person paper ballot idea moot because you already had people. I had people that told me they won't vote because it's not paper. They don't trust electronic, they don't have the internet, they don't have a proper form, what have you. My big thing, that's all I'm going to finish with, You need to ask us, the citizens of Annapolis County, how we want to vote and allow all options. I voted last time by phone under duress after I poked my counselor many, many times. And I did it under duress. And yes, I will agree. We need to move forward. We need to have a hybrid. But 12 people in this county of 20,000 should not be deciding how I want to vote. And it's a basic constitutional right. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I hope it will help you see that this is where we need to go. If we can't get our public forum together before the 28th of January, then I suspect we should be doing paper only and asking the public for what they want to go forward with. Thank you very much for allowing me.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Against? Motion is defeated. Councillor Barton. We'll see.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion that included electronic voting as well as paper ballots. That way we cover all the citizens. There is concern in valid concern because there's a lot of people with phone connection problems, internet connection problems, either together or they don't. We can't provide that alternative to pay for. Some are more elderly, they don't. Electronic say only to station vote. So my motion would be to
Yeah, we got it written.
move forward with a combination of electronic and paper ballots to allow all the options to get their vote cast.
So, thank you for that. With respect, it's not very clear. Councillor Gunn and Councillor Gunn and I and the Deputy Warden attended a parliamentary session, and one of the things they were advised is never draft a motion while the meeting is in progress because of various reasons you may end up with something you don't want. So unless there's are you on this specific point, Councillor Gunn?
No, sir. I'm just, well, yes, but I mean, I have a
unless
motion
there
to
are
offer.
objections, why don't we take a short break? And if you could write out your motion, then we'll deal with that as soon as we come back. Welcome back to the council meeting. And Councillor Bartow, you have the floor.
Yes, before completion of the clarity is made to the motion, and if I could ask the clerk to read that, it'd be much appreciated.
Councillor Bartow has given me this wording, that the special election to be held in District 3 in January 2023 be conducted electronically, by telephone, and in person by paper ballot.
Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Gunn. Discussion. Councillor Collins.
Yes, I will support this motion because I feel it gives all citizens a choice. I would just like to have it that I know statistics were given to us on electronic voting, but I'm sure last election wasn't 100% because it was electronic voting. There was a big effort by citizens of Annapolis County that they wanted councilor change. And that more likely had just as much to do with the amount of people voting as electronic voting did.
You don't say.
So So I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't all because it was electronic. There was a big drive for change from the citizens, and they showed their appreciation. So I'm going to support the motion.
Thank you. Councilor Sheridan, follow up on council.
You want to go? Go ahead.
All right, Councilor Longmire, Sheridan,
Sorry.
Ball.
Can I just ask to have the motion read again?
Yes.
Motion as given to me by Councilor Bartow that the special election to be held in District 3 in January 2023 be conducted electronically, by telephone, and in person by paper ballot.
Thank you.
Clarification on electronically and by telephone. Does it only mean by telephone or electronically, period?
Perhaps it's the clerk read it with the punctuation.
Oh,
That the special election to be held in District 3 in January 2023 be conducted electronically, comma, by telephone, comma, and, comma, in person by paper ballot.
thank you for all those. That makes it way better. Thank you.
No need.
That's right.
That was answered. Thank you.
That was my same question.
Yeah.
Just wanting to check that it's internet and phone, which that seems to be.
Oh, now don't use that. Get rewarded.
As the motion currently reads, I would query staff as to whether the paper ballots would be available on election day or at the two advancing poll days as well. As the motion currently reads, is that how they would?
My interpretation is that council wishes this election to be held using those methods. Nothing with regard to timing or anything has changed.
I don't have the MEA in front of me, Municipal Elections Act in front of me, and so I was wondering if maybe staff could clarify whether this just ends up being election day there's paper ballots available, or if at the two advanced polling dates as are required to be specified by the Municipal Elections Act, would also end up having to be made available for paper ballots.
They have to be.
Yes.
That would be my assumption. For the sake of clarity, I asked the question.
Okay, see,
I am not sure we could get people hired, trained, and get everything printed in time to do the advanced ones electronically. Given our current date, it might only be, I just started working on this yesterday in preparation for your possible request. It might only be possible to do paper on the final day.
Fair enough.
And I did review this with the MEO in Halifax, the municipal elections officer, and they felt that was a viable plan for an election, and they confirmed that a lot of municipalities that do hybrid do it that way, that they treat the whole 2-week electronic period as your advance poll. They continue the electronic on the final day for people that prefer that, and the final day also has walk-in stations.
so does that mean the paper ballots, according to what you just suggested, will be available only on what we call voting day?
The election day.
Election day,
Yes. And it's based on our timing. We're already pretty close to those dates.
Councilor Walmart, Councilor Burkett.
Thank you. Through you, working to the CAO, my concern with that is it is a bit restricting because it is winter and weather can impact that one day. So it still will defeat, in my opinion, the flexibility that we are working for.
Councilor Burkett.
Thank you. You would state that on preliminary research, which is not a lot of time, you have to do it. Appreciate the anticipation of looking into that. but it didn't say that it could not. It said that it may not be possible to have ballots printed at a particular time for the advance. When we have clarity that could be the case, and that they could be provided at a time that is acceptable for those advance polls.
There's very little time between the nomination date and the advance poll date for us to finish work with printers, train people. A possibility is we could do our all-out level best to offer paper at advance poll dates too at physical locations. Based on the work and research that I quickly started yesterday, I can't give you an answer right now whether or not we can promise that to the public right now. If that's part of what you want, we will do absolutely everything possible to work towards that. It's just hard to give that answer right at the moment.
The printing of correspondence that has to go by mechanic post to everybody to give them instructions for the election as soon as not done yet, and it's another printing process. So I'm just trying to find it a little hard to believe that we couldn't get paper ballot printed as well in that time frame.
Well, at this point, we still have to find a vendor for the paper ballots. We haven't started working on that. Since we've already started working with the internet service provider, we've already prepared a letter with them that they're ready to mail as soon as we do the nominations on January 3, and they can just insert the names. And I've talked to them, and they are able, if we add some in-person voting locations, they can do that alteration to the letter too on the timeline that they have.
Councillor Gunn, please.
Thank you so much. Could we have a hybrid system and that we offer the electronic, voting and the paper voting, but also to extend that period of time for paper voting? I was thinking that, is there any way possible that we may be able to have the citizens drop in the office and vote over that 2-week period in the county office or something up here, rather than go through the expense of setting all the halls up and around the area and trying to find people? Could we just make it so that over that 2-week period, people who might be able to vote electronically could stop in the office and vote? Thank you. That's what my question is.
I think we're getting down to a degree that ought not to be doing. There is a motion. I think the CAO has said he will use his best efforts to accomplish that. And I would suspect that once he does some more investigating, that he could let us know by email how we're proceeding. Councillor Bartow.
As far as advance polls go, people come in for the electronic. I guess Councilor Dunn mentioned they could do it electronically instead if they're coming in person. Whether that's an option, I kind of skate around that one. But we should figure out with these advanced polls, are we going to have one location? Or are we going to tell the county office? It's for district 3 only. You don't need to have numerous locations, I don't think. I'd just like to get some feedback on it. But maybe that's something that we need to decide. How many locations?
That in and of itself is really a job for the returning officer. The council, if it passes this motion, indicates quite clearly the methods by which council wants the election decided. And then the returning officer will look at the regulations. All right. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Really good discussion. The strategic plan folks are ready to go at very short notice, but how long does it take? How long are they going to take?
That will be based on their hearing
if there are any questions after review of the
So it's supposed to, okay, Councillor Coleman.
I don't know how the rest of it made out, but when I punched on my computer, the big portion of the plan was so erratic with, you couldn't read it. It was all split up, the words were split up. I thought, who in the DD did that? You know, the words didn't even make sense because they were split up so bad that you couldn't read it.
So you don't have a copy?
I have a copy this morning in my box.
Okay, does everybody have a copy from the box? I had the electronic copy.
Yeah.
I thought I was voting for the strategic plan. Okay, we all have a copy. The question is, do we wish to begin the discussion now?
We have a member of the public who has said that she's coming for that at 1:30. So that's where we have to have it scheduled.
There you go. Okay, I think we'll agree that that's what we have to do.
I have
You could maybe use the Councillor Collins if you wish.
Councillor Dunn?
Oh, I was just going to make a couple of comments on the initial one that we got here.
No.
Or wait, we'll wait on it.
So we could move to councillor comments. That's okay. Right, beginning with District 1, and following the numerical order, and not expecting anyone from District 3 to reply at this meeting.
Thank you. It's been a very interesting few weeks as the holiday season is approaching. On November 17th, I attended the sod turning ceremony at the site of what will be the newest park in Annapolis County in Cornwallis. On December 2nd, I was pleased to attend the reopening of Queen Street in Bridgetown. And on this past Thursday, I was able to take part in a Zoom meeting concerning Nova Scotia housing needs assessment, along with a number of other councillors and staff. I would like to wish my fellow council members, county staff, and all residents of Annapolis County a happy holiday season, as the holidays will soon be upon us. May you and your family enjoy a wonderful time as you celebrate your family traditions. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. And I would humbly suggest that if anybody knows of someone in your community who may be celebrating the holidays alone this year, please consider extending an invitation to them to enjoy a holiday meal with you and your family. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you.
District 2, I also, I didn't get to the grand opening of Queen Street, but we got there around 6:30 that night. Stayed pretty well until things were over with, and well attended. Talked to a lot of people. I think the biggest joy was that they were able to get together. You could see it in the kids' faces with the little parade. You could see it in the kids' faces when the tree lit up. It was a beginning, hopefully, of some normality to be able to meet and enjoy families and friends and things like that. So it was very nice. Did a little shopping and everything, so to support the local vendors. Ran out of sausages when I was in the lineup. But we survived, I'm sure. Also, I'd just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas throughout our county, and just a simple word, be kind. Thank you.
Thank you.
District 4. I attended various events, but I'd like to limit my comments to the season. I'd like to take the opportunity to wish council staff and county residents all Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, and may the coming year be filled with happiness and prosperity. Thank you.
Greetings from District 5. I'm going to keep it really simple as well. The season upon us, I just want to wish each and every one of the citizens of the county of Annapolis, the councilors and staff, Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, and as well, a Happy New Year. I encourage each and every one to stay safe out there on our roads, to wherever the day has you going, that you go as cautiously as you can so that you can enjoy all of the pomp and circumstance of the season. Not to forget our vulnerable. And certainly over the past couple of years, we've seen so much more of that. And as Councillor Proud pointed out, you can extend that hand, whether it be peeling vegetables, as the fire hall in Bridgetown is going to be doing on December 24th and offering a free Christmas dinner on the 25th for takeout, or extending your own home, opening it up and inviting someone in. I encourage each and every one of us to try and do our part. The opening of Queen Street was exciting. It was absolutely magnificent, and I am just so excited for their Christmas season to have kicked off with some decorations and some great celebrations. Thank you.
Thank you. I will speak about District 6, and I think the highlight for me over the past while has been the coming out of our Ukrainian residents. And at any one time, we have about 50 to 70 or so residing in Cornwallis Park. Some stay for a short period of time. Some have vowed to stay in the area permanently. So it was great to see them at the three main celebratory occasions over the last weekend. One was the Christmas gift-giving party at the Cornwallis Park Community Association. There were about a dozen Ukrainians there, children and adults. And the gift-giving is a bit convoluted. You get your name called, you get the gift, you open it and you show it to everybody. And then you can take somebody else's gift. And once they got onto it, they were exuberant. There was also a children's party the next day in Cornwallis Park, again attended by people of the wider area and a number of Ukrainian adults and children, and the same with a function held at the Clemensport branch of the Royal Canadian Legion. I will save whatever greetings and wishes I may have until the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to begin by wishing, or taking this opportunity to wish all the volunteers in the county, or to thank them for everything they did. These are the people that make things happen in our communities. They freely give of their time, and in some cases, their own money to support the groups that they are associated with. On this note, I wish to congratulate Nancy Price, Stuart Ascott, Sharon Kittleston, and Heather McCormick. These individuals recently received the Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee Medals at a ceremony hosted by MLA Carmen Kerr. This award is given in recognition of individuals who have dedicated their time and talent to the service of family, community, and the county, and to recognize the outstanding service of Nova Scotians who have done much to build and enhance the province and our counties, okay? Councillor Longmire has basically trumped me on this one, but I do want to mention that the Bridgetown Christmas dinner is back on again. The dinner is free. It will be takeout, and the dinner can be picked up at the Bridgetown Fire Hall on Christmas Day. Please call either Maureen or Jerry Pablo at 902-665-4431 to put your name on the guest list and to confirm your pickup time. While not necessary, free offerings will be accepted. As mentioned by Councillor Longmire, if you would like to volunteer for the Christmas Eve dinner preparation, please contact either Jerry or Maureen. Lastly, I would just like to wish everyone a very safe and happy Christmas with your families and friends. Thank you.
Warden, may I ask that Counselor provide me with his written notes because I could not keep up with of all the people who wish to congratulate. Thank you. Why don't you still move that next? Thank you.
Okay, next.
That would be me. District 8 report. Happy solstice to all, and we'll all look forward to the days getting longer after tomorrow. I received communications from constituents about two main topics this past month: the lack of in-person voting in the upcoming by-election, and how the lack of water in Bear River has affected individuals and communities. In November, I attended a Rules of Order workshop that outlined the effective meeting management with three from council and one staff member. I'm looking forward to when we implement some of what we learned at that meeting, because it's good. As a member of the CAO recruitment team, we met with the recruitment facilitator and outlined the particular skills and abilities that would be a suitable match to work with Annapolis County. I look forward to meeting with the candidates. Last week, I attended a meeting with a few other members of council assessing the housing needs of Annapolis County, and I was delighted to have a branch of the government reach out to county representatives and ask about what we knew to be the housing requirements of our area. It was nice. I look forward to seeing the province implement many of our many suggestions. And before we head into the busiest holiday season, I'd like to thank all the volunteers in the community halls, churches, galleries, and homes who have worked tirelessly to bring us community breakfasts, suppers, soup kitchens, musical performances, special visits with stand-up, tree lighting ceremony, exhibitions, dances, outdoor skating opportunities, and most importantly, home-cooked meals and gatherings for family and friends, because volunteers are the very heart of our homes and community. So, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas, and please have a very safe and happy holiday, and we'll see you in the new year. Thank you.
So, excuse me, I would like to start by thanking the volunteers as well, especially those that are doing it on Christmas Day. And it's not just one community, it's several communities across the county that are offering this free Christmas dinner. So it is so much appreciated with those who attend. And I too would like to wish everybody a safe and happy holiday and a happy new year. Thank you.
Madam.
Who's you? Maybe we rejoice in the return of the sun, and I want to wish everybody a safe and healthy and prosperous next lap.
Next lap. Next lap.
Now it's Madame? Well, thank you. As everybody has said, here we are again in December. It has been a whirlwind of things to do in the whole 2022. It is a time that we take to say happy holidays. It's a time that we cherish our friends, our loved ones, and take the time to chat and help them out in ways that we can. But most importantly, it's a time to say thank you. Thank you for being there for us as council, as staff, as the residents of Annapolis County to make our county better. And I am just saying happy holidays, stay safe, bonne année, joyeux Noël.
Thank you. Well, how long do you think the in-camera session might be?
I don't know, it depends on council's needs.
Oh, you can always break and hammer the back end if that's the case.
Well, we're now 18 minutes away from breaking, and we wish to be here ready to go by 1:30. So let's allow 18 minutes for bilateral consultations of a very personal and professional and sensitive nature. And that brings us to 12 o'clock, which is the time for adjournment. So we're adjourned until 1:30. Thank you.
So I'll just back up. Has everyone received a copy of the draft document? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So as you can see, we have created 3 versions of the document. And over the past several months, we have worked quite closely with council and staff, had some great feedback sessions with all of you. And the purpose of this strategic plan is to basically create a roadmap moving forward for the next 3 to 5 years. So 3 years is kind of the time frame that we're sort of projecting them for. 3 to 5 years, of course, 5 years is pretty far out in terms of everyday changes and things like that. Those types of cleanup are great in terms of targets, but the target is often moving behind in the past 2 years. So we put together 3 documents for you. The first document is just a poster, basically. And the first poster is just our key result areas, those 4 buckets of focus that we need to identify for all of our feedback and all of our work topics. And in those buckets, those key result areas, we also identify your values and mission statement. Now, this poster is meant to be used as sort of an incentive document, let's say, posted at your staff offices, by your desk, things like that. And that's why it's just so reviewed and so short. It's just really, really lots of. The second document is the one that I really want to talk with you folks about today, mostly. And that's what we're calling the County of Annapolis Strategic Plan. That's the short version. And that's the one that's only 10 pages long. So if we wanted to go through that one has identified our foundational themes. That is our values, our vision, our mission statement, as well as what, through feedback with the council and the staff, what we heard from you about those shared visions, those shared values, those shared missions, vision, supportive, growth, prosperity, responsive. Then again, we have those 4 key result areas to define which big 4 buckets of work. So responsible growth, we're focusing on how not just our population, but also our community to work, play, and grow in the area. Number 2, effective organization. We heard you use establishing a strong foundation of processes and planning so staff can provide the best service possible. These are really important benefits for you. Number 3, our collaboration, building our partnerships to work together more effectively. And number 4, finance, committing to increasing efficiencies and committing for growth. And then underneath each one of those key result areas are those goals. If you remember the last time we were down, we did that really good talk together. And we put those buckets, those key result areas, and we identified those what. What was important for your municipality, led by you, the council, to achieve and to really focus on during the term of the strategic plan. And the goals were identified and captured. We went through all of those together, and these goals that are listed here are reflective of the feedback and the changes and things that we pulled together from you folks for that day. Now, this second version, this document, this is the hog level version of the strategic plan. You probably noticing it's 10 pages and the large strategic plan is 30 pages. Well, there's a reason for that. This short document could be used as a bit of maybe a public-facing playbook, let's say, if you just want to give someone just a really quick understanding of the focus of the plan, what was important for the municipality moving forward, and what you identified to work on. The 30-page document, the big document, that's more of a big plan, because that is where we're getting to what we've identified as action, how we want to achieve what it is that we want to focus on, as well as what resources would be required, what we identified as critical paths, so those things that have dependencies, as well as some timelines associated with those. What we find is very common is for municipalities to host maybe an abbreviated version on their website, so public have a clearer understanding of the larger project. And then if they want to get more information, things like that, they also can have a request a copy of the full document, the internal document. So as we talked about in our session, the council, you folks are setting the vision, and the staff are doing the execution and fulfilling all of those actions to help make sure that your vision is achieved. So I guess what we wanted to do today is to just make sure that you folks all had an opportunity to look through the plans that we got them last week. There were some cosmetic changes, just some wording, changed the picture, and updated some of the text in that sense, but the meat of the document is the same. I fully understand that it's a 30-page document, it's a lot to get through. And my intent wasn't to go through each page with you folks today, but I would love to just hear any feedback or questions that anyone has on, their initial review of these documents. And do you feel that we captured what you shared with us accurately?
Okay. Thank you for that introduction, Jackie. And let me say that it's quite an appealing document that you've created. All the more so because I see in there a couple of pictures of places in my district.
Oh, good.
So I'll open the floor for discussion, comments, questions on any aspect of the plan. Councilor Longmire.
Thank you, Jackie. The silence was getting to me. It's quite a document. As I was reading through it and trying to envision the future, I think the one that stood out the most to me is our effective organization. Okay. And page 18. Because the long version, yes, that's the part I struggle with. Because in order for us to achieve the future, we've got to have what I feel is that organizational chart, that we know that we have the right people in the right positions with the right qualifications to be able to execute along with us to get to the end result. And so that is a really tough place for me to be at. I look at the rest of the goals and actions and themes and all of that, as certainly doable and certainly does. It married well to what was actually shared at the meetings, which is wonderful. But it's that organizational chart that just really does, for me, impact. Yes.
So I I just wanted to make sure that I'm understanding your statement. Do you have questions, or do you not feel that that we captured accurately the importance of that organizational effectiveness review?
No, I think you hit the majority of it.
Perfect, okay.
Again, it comes back to us and where we sit today and the work that we have before us in order to be a strong unit going forward to meet the future.
And you'll notice that that is one of the absolute first steps in the critical path that we've identified. So if you jump down in that large document, I'm just pulling it up here, if you jump down to page 26 in that large document, yes, in 2023, Q1, that needs to get started. That needs to, we need to start planning for it. We need to start understanding, okay, who needs to be involved, what are the parameters, who's going to conduct it, all of those pieces, because the majority of the other pieces of that effective organization, key result here is hinged on that, because if you don't have a good solid foundation of your staff, of everyone knowing, what they're responsible for, who's accountable to who's starting to give the people in the right roles, and if you don't, what are the skills that are required, not necessarily who is the person, but what are the skills that are required in those roles, what reporting structures, communication structures, performance, all training, all of those things. That's a dependency, this organizational effectiveness review. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Jackie. I appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments?
Councillor Gunn.
Thank you so much. I think the document's fairly well put together. Other than there's a few changes I think I would make. I'd get rid of the gold in the text because it's very hard to read the gold. In one that we got the other day, I couldn't read that at all. That was in the package that we received. And some of the font seems small, and if we could do something about maybe making that a little larger, just so our old eyes, some of us can read it a little easier. The other thing I have a hard time focusing on is this page here, and it's that heavy blue with the white. I can read it, but it's hard to focus on it, I find that. There was also a couple of other parts here where there's something in the day. Maybe it's this one I'd have to go to.
While you're finding your page here, I'll just make a quick comment on the colors and things like that. This is all using your brand book.
Okay.
So, yeah, we were able to, we were able to use all of the color palette and the text and everything that's part of your brand book.
Mm-hmm.
But I can go back to our graphic designer and see if she can come up with something that's a little crisper for sure.
Thank you.
Just to add,
Go ahead.
Okay, Councillor LeBlanc.
well, and I have to say, just to add to what Councillor Gunn is putting on there, is the fact that for accessibility, and to be clear, we need to have, if it's on dark paper, we need to have the letters bigger and wider and bigger print. It's the accessibility that we have to consider in putting this document together.
Okay, so I guess the straightforward question back to you folks is it okay if we go outside your brand book for coloring them?
I don't understand. I think I understand, but I've never heard it before today. Brand book.
Okay, so when you develop what's called a brand, so your municipality is an entity onto itself, so you have an approved logo, approved usage of how that logo looks, whether text is in front of it, below it, on top of it, all of those things like that. There also is what's created in marketing and communications and graphics terms, it's your brand book. So that means that any of your official communications are using a specific font, if there's specific colors, there's specific guidelines for spacing and things like that. And so that's what our graphic designer used in the creation of this document. But if that's no longer working for you, I mean, I can ask her to changing some of that. For instance, if you look at the logo that's on your screen right now, your county of Annapolis logo, that font where it says County of Annapolis and then naturally rooted underneath it, that font is specifically called out in your brand book. You're not allowed to just, put anything willy-nilly in there. It's a very structured, standardized communications tool. So if that's not working for this document, we're more than open to changing that for sure.
Thank you. Probably what we will do is we'll go through all the questions and comments that folks have, and then we'll, later on, perhaps today, we'll decide how we're going to go about the next steps, because some of the items brought up by my colleagues and some of the items brought up to you belong exclusively to the CAO, and perhaps others belong to council.
Okay. Any other questions or comments that I can help clarify?
Sorry, Councillor Proud.
Thank you. Just to pick up on what Councillor Young and Councillor Levant said, I'm going in for cataract surgery in 2 days' time, but I really struggle to read some of the fine print, and as per the comments on accessibility, I know we have made a commitment to put things in plain language as best we can, and to have it in a certain size, and so it's easier for folks to read. And it really came home to me over the weekend, trying to go through, and it would be reread, almost to the point of a magnifying glass to follow. And that would be my only criticism and comment at this time. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor.
So if you folks do have, as part of the creation of your accessibility plan, did you do a mandatory, for releasing a public document, so font has to be, it has to be this type of font and a minimum font size? Do you have that regulation?
I think that's in the plan. The county official directly responsible is not here today, but I know that there have been discussions, and I've seen some things in writing about what the font needs to be.
If that could be shared with me, then we can, that would be great. If we could use those guardrails, that would make it so much simpler if we could just adhere to that.
Councillor Hudson.
Yes, I guess this is for my own clarification. On page 26, and it goes to quarter one, and the first step there is organizational effectiveness review begins, and I understand that completely. But then the next item down says line budget for annual plans and goals. Are those things that are going to come out of that organizational review process, or are those annual plans and goals more broader than that?
Broader than that. So the intention, and I believe it identifies this in the document further on. I apologize, I know it's just right off of me. Measuring and monitoring. I think it's mentioned in the measuring and monitoring plan. Every year there should be some annual operational plan for this, because things change. So you might forecast, we're going to do X, Y, and Z in 2023, but then when you're looking at 2024, well, we didn't get Y and Z done because things happen like a global pandemic or something like that, right? So the annual operating plan is the subsidiary, let's call it, of the strategic plan. And it's basically saying, okay, next year for the strategic plan, which of these are we looking to succeed? And what do we need to have to support that? So that's budget, it could be dollars, it could be staff hours, it could be technology, any of those things. So that's all part of that annual operating plan to support the achievement of your overall 3 to 5 year strategic plan.
Just a follow-up. So those, to develop those annual plans and goals, that'll be a function of staff with a report coming to council?
Yes and no. So the council should always be aware of the success and/or challenges of the execution and implementation of this strategic plan. And best practice that we're suggesting in the plan is that your CAO, as part of their performance management, is they're reporting to you folks, and you identify how often. If you want it to be once a quarter, if you want it to be every other month, whatever works for you folks. And the CAO should be chatting with council and identifying, okay, out of these big buckets, these key result areas, what's our priority this time? And then the CAO and staff will go back and identify how we're going to achieve that, bring that back to council. And the CAO will bring sort of those overarching, but the council wouldn't be involved in day-to-day decisions such as, we need to put 2 desks in this office instead of 3, or something like that, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So remember, the council, you folks are driving the bus, so to speak. You're the folks that are representing the citizens and the constituents. So it's your vision, on behalf of your constituents to say, here's our goals and here's our vision. And then it's the staff's responsibility to execute on that.
Well, Councilor Gunn.
Thank you so much. As I said before, I've read through this document, but with the help of a magnifying glass, as might I add, Councilor Burke, but I did get through it. And I think it's a good foundation. And as long as we realize that this is a living document, this document's just as alive as any of them. It's going to change. We're going to meet some of the criteria on it, some we're not. But hopefully we won't forget about those and pick them back up in our future years. Thank you.
And to add a comment to that, it has to be a living document because you're going to achieve things and they're going to get crossed off the list, right? So they're no longer a possibility. So, yeah.
Comments? Councilor Bartow?
I spent a bit of time going through this over the weekend. I was just when we had to look at it, and I found that my eyes were laying on my cheeks because of, for one reason or another, the text was too small, the color of the text was inappropriate, especially that goal. I don't think that in our report, if we have a brand on there, it doesn't tell us that we have to use those colors. We don't have to use ones that are appropriate. Putting it together, sometimes I was a little looking at it, because the text on one side of the page relates to the text on the other side of the page, or is it grayed out more because it's only to try to graphically representation of the page just to make it, look more like text on paper. Then I got looking at it, the flow wasn't there 100% for me. There's text, sort of explanation, it's a backbone, I guess, for the document, but we haven't had a chance to put on this enough at this point so I can't sign off on it the way it is. I guess there's a lot of things that I'd like us to give it some more time to reread it again. I'd come up with more comments, but it was hard to follow. And one point we made was should be developing something that's going to be up on the shelf. We paid for this plan, and I can see that it's not going to be dropped on the shelf, and that's because of, the information that people will be looking for might not necessarily be there. And I'm just talking generalities. We don't have specifics to put to that at this point. So, I guess that's my overview at this point, without getting into detail.
As I indicated, when we conclude this portion, I think council will have a discussion as to where we go next, and perhaps might alleviate some of those. And then we'll have another conversation with Jackie and her colleague at some time.
Yeah, in one mind, it's in progress. It's started in my perspective. Anyway, I'll leave it at that until we have a chance to discuss it further.
Thank you. Do we have other, Councillor Carr?
I'm sorry I didn't make it to the meetings, but when I got this sent to me last week, I couldn't even read the last portion because the text was all mixed up. The words were divided. Some parts of words were added to the end of other words. The whole thing was scrambled, so I couldn't read any of it. So I got it in my box this morning. But I had looked at the strategic plans for other counties within Nova Scotia. And I kind of was a little disappointed that there wasn't some just simple point forms on key areas of what we were going to do and stuff like that. So I haven't had time to really look it over other than a few minutes here at council today, but that was just some of my thoughts around is that some of the actions are very explained out, some of the goals are long. I just thought there would be some more, just 1 or 2 word point forms of what we wanted to achieve. That's all.
Jackie, I reinforce what Councillor Connell has said. When I tried to print mine, it just wouldn't work. So some of my colleagues just received the plan this morning or maybe yesterday, which I think makes all the more potentially valuable a discussion that we'll have on various points.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Councillor Hudson.
Yes, I was just curious as to whether or not we should share this plan with, I guess, another consultant that we have engaged. We have a consultant engaged to come back to us with an organizational chart, job descriptions, and so on and so forth. And should, and in your presentation there on 28, you say that these have to be included in the in their existing daily duties. So I just wondering, should this be shared with that other consultant, just when he is developing the org chart and job descriptions? That's some way down. I see the two are tied a little bit.
Is that a question for me?
Yes, that's a question.
Okay,
That's
sure.
whether it should be shared.
I think once you have approved this plan, it absolutely would be important for anyone else that is working on any supporting work to have an understanding of what your overarching vision is. Absolutely important to understand that. And this plan identifies that this organizational effectiveness review, job descriptions, and the hierarchy and reporting structure, that's a key piece of this. So, yeah, once this plan has been approved, then I would absolutely encourage you to share any of this vision with those folks that are helping to execute it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Sherry.
Yeah, I have the same question in regards to, because you've got in the plan that there's 4 key executive positions, and doing the organizational chart, I agree with Councillor Hudson that this needs to be And I'm glad to see that it's in Q1 of 2023, because we're getting started and getting on the right path and in the right foot. Sure. Yeah, thank you.
Good. Good. That means we captured it successfully. Good. Thank you.
Any further comments? Councilor Beckham?
Just touching on that latest comment regarding directors. And they're adding duties to the work. It sounds like we're adding for directors' positions. I'm not sure that I agree with that concept. There's a lot of stuff that's so loose on the terms. I guess maybe that's the nature of our strategic plan. It's not completely definitive what we're going, but I think that's more input as to why and where these directors are going to be, or if it's extra work to be added to their description. One in favor of hiring more people. We get too many on the upper end and force that forward. I didn't want to say that. What we want. So, where did you envision these directors coming from?
I think if I might, that's one of the questions that council will talk about. We're here today to get a briefing on the organization of the plan, to indicate in well-modulated words to Jackie our impression, but I don't think we're here today actually to sit down and wordsmith this document. Not in this part of our session.
Thank you. Jackie, through you, Warden. Jackie, I just want to say that I was drawn back to page 25 many times. I kept reading it over and over, and it was like a recipe for success for me. Measuring and monitoring. And each of those paragraphs couldn't have said it any more perfect. So that page really does work well. Thank you.
Thank you. It's without any type of check associated with change, it's very difficult to determine if it was worthwhile or not. And it's very important to have visibility and transparency into such a process as implementing a strategic plan. And part of that visibility and transparency is updating on progress or updating on challenges, because as council, that's your role, is to, maybe help eliminating roadblocks or reprioritize or any of those things. And you can't support your staff, your municipal staff, if you don't have that visibility and transparency. And that's what all of this is on. That's what all of these things are on.
Well said. Thank you, Jackie.
Any further comments? Short and sweet, for the most part. So I think this has been necessary. Number one, it gets us thinking about this plan, thinking in isolation about this plan, concentrating on it itself. And I think that's the next step. And I would expect that in the fullness of time, the CAO will be back to you and we might have another go. Is that okay with you?
Yes. So what I guess I need from you folks, sorry, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but what I need from you folks is if there's any information that you can share with me surrounding your accessibility policy in terms of font size, colors, anything like that, that we can use, and permission to go outside the brand book. If that's fine with you, I can take that information back to our graphic designer and make those changes for easier readability as was suggested. And then I I just need to comment that if we feel that we didn't capture anything correctly, that we feel is something that's missing or what have you, so we can make those final adjustments. Our next step is to incorporate your feedback, make any edits as required, and then present to you the final document for approval. So that would be our next step.
Great. Thank you very much.
Anything else? Anything else from you today, or?
No, we're happy.
Okay. I'd like to wish happy holidays to all of you.
Oh, yes,
Thank
you
so
too.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I've got another story. When I was in New York, I was responsible at the desk level for international peace and security, conflict prevention, resolution, that type of thing. And we got a lot of people who came down from Canada who were very interested in various aspects. I'll give you an example of two groups. Group one came down and said, Canada is a crock. Literally, that's what they said. They said, what Canada is proposing is awful. It's going to ruin the world. And went on like that. And would conclude with, what can you do for me? Group two came down and said, we've read Canadian policies. A lot of them we don't agree with. Can you talk to us and help us understand so that we can constructively criticize better? Guess which group got my positive help? We hired these folks. We don't need to be too hard on them at this stage. What I recommend for your consideration is that we ask the CAO and his folks to go over this, bearing in mind all the comments that were made here today, and then we come back as council in a workshop and really go over it. I would think that when we get down to the next layer of this plan, all of us, I think, are going to have a lot of comments. Because we have to look at it from the point of view as an operational instrument. How do we work within it? The other thing is, though, it has to be easily accessible and understood to the public. It's like designing a flag. You want a flag that a 4-year-old can draw. Well, in this, and the average readability is grade 6 or 7 in the province, and 35% of our province is illiterate. And we need to make it so that almost every one of us in Nova Scotia can look at this and understand what it is we want to do. So is that okay if we put them on the CAO? All right, thank you.
It's really important that we make sure that we've captured your vision. Strategic plans are really about council vision, and we're trying to marry in here that there's been staff focus group feedback that is in a lot of the real detailed stuff. So we have to make sure that from like going from the top down, from the 4 big things and the goals into those action plans, that everything you want to see is there. And I think our biggest risk, do we miss something? Do you think of something later, 6 months from now? Oh, this was a really big issue and we completely missed it. So I think that's where I want to make sure that we're careful for your vision. But thank you for letting me add that.
Are you okay? I believe that people with specific talents and abilities need to be understood and need to be recognized. Nova Scotia is one of the provinces that has instituted a Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee Medal, which commemorates the 70th anniversary of the accession to the throne. And I want to read to you, perhaps in some detail, what is required of a person to be so distinguished as to receive this medal. The person should have achieved a high standard in building the Nova Scotia of today. The person must have distinguished herself, himself, from others in the same field. Have to stand above the rest, recognizing the quality and excellent performance of the rest. But in order to be decorated with this medal, a person has to go more. They have to be highly respected individuals in their community. And we are very fortunate that this Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal is being awarded in Nova Scotia. And I think we are extremely fortunate that one of these medals has been awarded to Deborah Ryan. And just to say that the discreet outlining says self-nominations are not allowed. So we know that she was nominated by those folks who understand her achievement. Congratulations, Deborah.
Thank you. If you would mind, I just say just a few brief words.
Please.
Mr. Warden, councilors, and staff. I spent 4 years working for the county, and I've been very proud. I still wear my tin proudly. I couldn't do what I do without the staff that have supported me and volunteers, and we haven't done a lot together. And also, too, couldn't have done it without council previous and today to move forward and to do some amazing projects. We are closest to the people at municipal government, and we have made a big difference. And for all those people that worked for me, and for all the volunteers that I've worked with, who I've loved, and always, and also too, like I said, councilors have been a big supporter. So I thank you very much. I'm very proud. This shocked me. I was sort of stunned. I sat for a while after I had the call, and I got teary-eyed. I'm not one of those people, but I must say it was like, wow, maybe I should pinch myself. I was in Halifax at our province house, and I have to say, if you haven't been there, you should go. It's a legislative area of which that we should be very proud. There's so many things there that we have not seen. I was pleased to be able to go with my nephew, Sean, and I think he was as proud as I was. And I felt so proud to have him there and to be part of that. So anyway, on behalf of people I've worked with and volunteers and all of council, thank you so much for allowing me to do what I do, because I do have a passion. I had a passion for recreation, I still do. I have a passion for tourism, and I want to do good in the community. So for all of you, thank you. And there it is, in honor of our Queen, who I had so much respect for. It's been amazing. So thank you.
Oh, wow.
So on the reverse side is the Nova Scotia emblem with the Mayflowers on either side and the Queens on the beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
So could I have a motion to go in camera? Councillor Longmire and Councillor Johnny? All in favor?
Yes.
We are now back in council session. And those of you who were watching 2 years ago, will recall that at that meeting during the pandemic at the Annapolis Basin Conference Center, I caused a song by the Beatles to be played. And it was a song hoping for peace. And over the past year, our council has been faced with a number of stimulating subjects. Some have not been resolved, but we know what they are and we're dealing with them. And I think we have reached a foundational position. That is, we know our ground, we know where we want to go, and we are determined to go there united. And it is my hope that in the year 2023, we will see not only the resolution of some large subjects, but also paying attention to what I'm calling citizen-based initiatives, where folks can point out to us what things would make a positive difference to them in their districts and thus in their councils. And I would like to conclude by wishing all who are celebrating ceremonies of one or another in the upcoming weeks peace, harmony, and tranquility. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you.